Vastly oversimplified, the Springfield Empowerment Zone is a project aimed at helping to support the middle schools in the community and to improve the academic progress of students. Connecting Point correspondent Caroline McGrath spoke with Springfield Empowerment Zone CEO Beth Gage and Program Director Matt Matera to get the story.
The Empowerment Zone is a partnership between the Springfield Public Schools, the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and the Springfield Education Association, designed to help improve middle schools in Springfield. So there's a lot of great people working really hard every day, and obviously a lot of tremendous students here in Springfield. But the middle schools have struggled in the past, and so I work at a nonprofit, as you mentioned, called Empower Schools, and so we had the opportunity to partner with the district and the state and the union to say, can we come together and figure out a way to help improve schools collaboratively? And so we believe very deeply in empowering the educators at the school, and so the idea is to have principals and teachers and other educators in the building come together to come up with a plan that is unique to the needs of the specific school, and then to have the ability to put that plan into operation.
Okay, so Beth, we're talking level 4 schools. Could you tell me which schools are involved?
Yeah, so we actually have 9 locations. We have, at our Chestnut location, there's actually 3 separate schools, Chestnut North, South, and Tag. We have Duggan, Forest Park, Kennedy, Kylie, and then 2 locations at Van Sickle. We have Van Sickle IB and Academy.
And so when you talk about a level 4 school, what does that mean? Is it just the MCAS score, or are there other factors that the state looks at?
In the middle school, I think it's mostly the standardized test scores, although they also look at sort of the directional trend of how the scores are going, and they look at attendance and other things like that. At high school, they look at dropout and graduation rates, but the vast majority of it in middle school is test scores.
Okay, and so do you think this is something that's going to work? I mean, this is a new move to try to lift these schools up. How much time do you have to turn this around?
We have 3 years to do it, and we believe strongly in the work that we're doing right now.
And what's going to be different about it? What would be different about this versus, another plan that a principal would put in place?
Yeah, I think the key thing is that I think it's 2 things. One is I think the partnership aspect is so important, that everybody is invested in making this succeed, which is always true because everyone's invested in kids. But now you have a lot of people at the table all working together to find solutions. And then second is I think the ability for each school to do its own thing that works for the students at that school.
Give me an example. What does that mean? So if I'm the principal, I can say, do you clean house? Do you rehire? No?
Nope. I think more like a great example is in schedules at the school. It's just a fundamental part of how the school day is run. And in the past, all the middle schools have had the same schedule, the same length of each period, the same course offerings for the most part. Whereas now, for example, at Forest Park Middle School, they go 15 minutes longer every school day than some of our other schools for kids, because they said, we want to go a little bit longer. We want to have a schedule that includes some extra time. And we had some schools last year, all the schools had 90-minute periods. So you would have a 90-minute block of English.
Block.
It's a long block.
It's
a long time to stay focused.
Sure,
and it was really funny that when Beth and I were talking with people and getting ready to plan, some principals and teachers said, the one thing we want to make sure is that we can keep our 90-minute blocks because we love it. And some principals and teachers said, the one thing we want to make sure is that we can change the 90-minute blocks and have shorter periods, and it's not working for us. And so I think that's one concrete example of the principals working with teachers were able to come together and come up with a plan and a schedule that works for them and how they're going to do the classes at their schools.
So these are still public schools. Who do the principals report to? What makes this different?
They report to the board, so there's representation from all members of the partnership, and that's who they report to.
And tell me again who's on the board.
I'm going to pass that off to Matt so that I don't forget anyone.
Great. So it's a joint state-local board where there are 4 members. It's a 7-member board where there are 4 members appointed by the State Commissioner of Education and 3 members representing Springfield. So we have, as the chairman, Chris Gabrielli, who is also the commissioner, the chairman of the State Higher Ed Commission. Right. Then we have Beverly Holmes, who's a local businesswoman and former member of the State Board of Education. James Morton, who used to head up the YMCA in the area and now heads up the YMCA in Boston, and is a member of the State Board of Education, and John Davis of the Davis Family Foundation.
Okay.
And then on the and many of those people have very deep local ties. And then on the local side of things, we have the mayor, we have the superintendent of schools, Dan Warwick, and we have the vice chairman of the school committee, who is currently Chris Collins.
Okay. And Beth, you are in Springfield Monday through Friday. I know you travel back and forth from Boston. How do the unions feel about this, and what are you hearing from parents and teachers?
I think everybody's very supportive. They're excited to change. I think everybody realizes that we need to rapidly grow our test scores. So I think everybody's pretty enthusiastic about it. We're working with them to, make ongoing changes as we develop this model.
And level 4 is one of those situations where this kind of has to work. Are you concerned about that, or has this been successful in other areas?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always concerned because we want to give the best possible opportunity for our students. But I'm very optimistic too, and I think I have worked before, and Empower's worked before in Lawrence, which was the lowest performing district in the state a few years ago, when the state actually used its level 5 powers there, which means the state actually came in and took over the schools here, which is very different from what happened here in Springfield.
Right.
But a similar model of empowering the schools once that happened.
Right.
And Lawrence has been the fastest improving district in the state since then. And so it's a lot of work still to be done, but I think it's really a great inspiration to see that in a city that is faces some similar challenges to what we face here in Springfield, that progress began right away. And a real quick concrete example is the state measures how much growth each kid makes, the kids make in the schools every year. And so if you're at 50, you're making average growth, and if you're less than 50, you're making less than the growth you should be making.
Right.
And Lawrence in 2 years went from being, for years, under 50, so kids were falling farther behind, to above 50 in both math and English. So kids were catching up to other kids across the state by the second year of the changes. And so I think we are hoping to chart a similar course, and believe very deeply in our students and in the educators in our schools, and really believe that with the right power to do things in their school, and the right support, and the right and the right checks to make sure they're doing the right things, that for kids, that there will be really great growth here too.
All right, Matt Matera and Beth Gage, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and good luck.
Thank you.